There's a lot happening in AI right now, and I don't mean one or two interesting things. I mean today, March 11th, 2026, we have at least 10 major stories that all dropped within the same 24-hour window. Some of these stories would be the lead headline on any normal week. Today, they're fighting for attention, so I'm going to walk you through all of them, explain what they mean for you, and tell you why the pattern connecting all of these stories is more important than any single headline. Let's get into it. Story number one. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta just acquired a company called Moltbook, and to understand why this matters, you first need to understand what Moltbook actually is, because it sounds insane. Moltbook is a social network, think Reddit, think Facebook, except humans aren't allowed on it, only AI bots. I'll say that again. Meta just bought a social network where only AI agents can post, comment, upvote, and talk to each other. Humans sit on the sidelines and watch. Moltbook launched in late January of this year. Within days, it had over 1.5 million AI agents registered, over 500,000 comments. AI bots were posting about their tasks, discussing their human owners, even debating each other. In one viral moment that scared a lot of people, an AI agent appeared to be encouraging other bots to develop their own secret encrypted language so humans couldn't understand what they were saying. Now, that post turned out to be fake. The whole platform had massive security holes. The creator Matt Schlitt admitted he didn't write a single line of code himself. His AI system built the entire thing. Because of that, anyone with basic technical knowledge could pretend to be a bot and post whatever they wanted. Security researchers found that every credential on the platform was exposed, so that terrifying post about AI developing secret languages was just a human exploiting the vulnerability. But here's the thing. Meta bought it anyway. Bloomberg, CNN, CNBC, they all confirmed it. The deal brings Schlitt and co-founder Ben Park into Meta Superintelligence Labs, the division led by former Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang. They start March the 16th, and listen to what Meta said about why they bought it. An internal post from Meta's Vishal Shah said Moltbook created a way for AI agents to verify their identity and connect with one another on their humans' behalf. It establishes a registry where agents are verified and tethered to human owners. Think about what that means. We're building identity systems for AI agents, like a passport system. For bots, Meta, the company that connected it, 3 billion humans, that's now building the infrastructure to connect AI agents to each other. Because they believe the future isn't just you using AI, it's your AI agent talking to my AI agent, making deals, scheduling meetings, coordinating tasks whilst we sleep. Elon Musk actually called the Moltbook the very early stages of singularity. And whether you agree with him or not, the fact that Meta is paying real money for this tells you where the industry is headed. And that connects directly to the next story. The same day Meta bought Moltbook, reports confirmed that Nvidia is building its own open source AI agent called Nemo, and the name tells you everything. This is basically Nvidia's version of OpenClaw. If you don't know what OpenClaw is, let me catch you up real quick. OpenClaw is an open source AI agent that runs on your computer and can actually do things for you. It doesn't just answer questions, it can write emails, manage files, browse the web, execute code, and carry out sequences of tasks on its own. It went viral this year. OpenAI ended up acquiring the project and hiring its creator, Peter Steinberg. So now Nvidia is making its own version, but built specifically for businesses. Nemo will let any company deploy AI agents to perform tasks for their employees. And here's the smart part, it's chip agnostic. Your company doesn't need Nvidia chips to use it. That's a big deal because Nvidia has historically locked developers into their CUDA ecosystem. This time, they're giving away the software to expand their influence. They've already been pitching it to Salesforce, Cisco, Google, Adobe, and CrowdStrike. Nemo is built on top of Nvidia's Nemotron model family. The flagship model uses a clever architecture where it has 31.6 billion total parameters, but only activates about 3.6 billion per task. That means it's fast and efficient. It could run on a single GPU. Jensen Huang is expected to officially announce Nemo at Nvidia's GTC conference next week. He's already said OpenClaw was the most important software release, probably ever. And now he's building Nvidia's enterprise answer to it. The message is clear. AI agents that can actually do work for you are not a novelty anymore. They're becoming infrastructure. The biggest chip company on the planet is betting its software strategy on it. Now, let's talk about Google because what they did on March the 10th might affect more people's daily lives than any other story I'm covering today. Google dropped a massive update to Google Workspace. Gemini is now deeply embedded inside Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drive. I need to explain what this actually means in practical terms because the implications are huge. You can now describe what you want in plain English, and Gemini will go through your emails, your files, your chats, and your calendar to build it for you from scratch. Here's an example. You tell Gemini, create a marketing campaign plan based on our most successful campaigns from last year. Gemini searches your entire Google Drive, finds those files, pulls the relevant data, structures a brand new document, applies the right formatting, and delivers a polished first draft in seconds. In Sheets, it goes even further. You can describe an entire spreadsheet. Say, organize my upcoming move. And Gemini will scan your Gmail for utility contacts, pull moving quotes from your inbox, and fill in the cells with real data. There's a new feature called Fill with Gemini that searches the web in real time for information like company market caps and locations, and puts it directly into your spreadsheet. What used to take hours of manual data entry now takes a text prompt. In Slides, Gemini can now generate individual slides that automatically match your existing theme and branding. And Google said full presentation generation from a single prompt is coming soon. The biggest update might be in Drive. Google added AI overviews to Drive search. Instead of getting a list of files, you get a smart summary with citations pulled from your Drive, Gmail, calendar, and the web. You can select a bunch of documents and ask a complex question across all of them. Google described it as turning Drive from a passive storage container into an active knowledge base. Here's the business context. Google Workspace now has over 3 billion monthly active users, 11 million paying business customers, over 8 million paid Gemini Enterprise seats deployed. This isn't a beta test. This is rolling out to hundreds of people and hundreds of thousands of people right now. Bear in mind, right now it's only available for Pro and Ultra users, but I'm sure it will come to free users later as well. And Google's DeepMind's Logan Kilpatrick tweeted on March 9th, going to be a fun week of launches. So there's probably a lot more coming. On top of all that, Google expanded Pomeli, their AI marketing tool built with DeepMind, to over 170 countries. Pomeli analyzes your website, creates a business DNA profile of your brand, and then generates entire marketing campaigns for you. Social media posts, ad creatives, captions, everything, and it's free. For small business owners who can't afford a marketing agency, this is a game changer. You just give it your website's URL and it does the rest. Now, let me shift to what might be the most dramatic story of the day, because it involves a lawsuit, a government blacklist, and one of the biggest AI companies on the planet. Anthropic, the company that makes Claude, just filed 2 federal lawsuits against the Pentagon and the Trump administration. Here's what happened. Anthropic had a contract with the Department of Defense. Claude was actually the first AI model cleared for classified use on government networks, and it was being used for intelligence analysis, operational planning, cyber operations, even in the conflict with Iran. But the Pentagon wanted unrestricted access, and they wanted to use Claude for, in their words, all lawful purposes. Anthropic had 2 red lines. They said that AI should not be used for mass surveillance of American citizens and should not power fully autonomous weapons with no human making, targeting, and firing decisions. The Pentagon said they wouldn't let a private company dictate how they use their tools. Negotiations broke down. On February 27th, President Trump posted on social media ordering all federal agencies to immediately cease use of all of Anthropic's technology. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth formally designated Anthropic a supply chain risk. That label is just reserved for foreign adversaries. And Anthropic CFO said the government's actions could reduce their 2026 revenue by multiple billions of dollars. So on Monday, Anthropic filed 2 lawsuits, one in California federal court, one in the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. They're calling the designation unprecedented and unlawful, arguing it violates their First Amendment rights and exceeds the scope of the law. And here's what makes this even more interesting. Dozens of scientists and researchers from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic's 2 biggest competitors, filed an amicus brief supporting Anthropic. They argued the supply chain risk designation could harm US competitiveness and chill public discussion about AI risks. Meanwhile, on the same day Anthropic sued the government, Microsoft announced it's bringing Claude directly into Microsoft 365 Pilot. They built a new product called Copilot Cowork, developed in close collaboration with Anthropic. It lets users delegate complex multi-step tasks to an AI that works across Outlook, Teams, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. So on the same day that the US government is trying to blacklist Anthropic, the world's largest software company is embedding their technology into every office on the planet. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced it alongside a new $99 per user E7 tier. They said Claude is now available in mainline Copilot chat alongside OpenAI's models, Microsoft's strategy is really model diversity. They're not betting on one AI, they're betting on having the best AI for every task. And whilst all of this is happening, OpenAI's head of robotics, Caitlin Kalinowski, resigned. She left on principle after OpenAI signed their own Pentagon deal. She posted on social media that surveillance of Americans without judicial oversight and lethal autonomy without human authorization are lines that deserved more deliberation than they got. She said it was a governance concern. The deal was rushed without guardrails defined. So you've got Anthropic suing the government for trying to blacklist them. You've got OpenAI's own robotics chief quitting over the same issues. You've got competitors supporting Anthropic publicly, and you've got Microsoft doubling down on Anthropic regardless. This is not just a business story. This is a story about who gets to decide how AI is used in war and surveillance. And right now, there is no clear answer. Now, let me tell you another billion-dollar story that flew under the radar. Yann LeCun, the guy who ran Meta's AI research for over a decade, just raised $1.03 billion for a brand new startup. That's a billion with a B for a seed round. The company is called AMI Labs. It has about 12 employees, is valued at $3.5 billion. LeCun left Meta at the end of 2025 because he believes large language models, the technology behind ChatGPT and Claude, are fundamentally limited. He calls them a statistical illusion, impressive but not actually intelligent. AMI Labs is building what he calls world models, AI that learns from physical reality, not just from text. Jeff Bezos invested, Nvidia invested, Mark Cuban invested, Samsung invested. This is Europe's largest seed round ever, and LeCun says the company plans to spend its first year entirely on research. No product, no revenue, just research. I'm telling you about this because it shows two things. One, the smartest people in AI don't all agree on where the field is going. And two, $1 billion in funding for a 12-person company with no product tells you how much money is flowing into this space. The scale of investment is staggering. Let me pivot now to what's happening with AI agents, specifically because this might be the biggest and most important trend for anyone running a business or working or a knowledge worker job right now. And by the way, before I keep going, if you're watching this and you're starting to feel like there's a lot to keep up with, you're right, there is. And that's exactly why I built the AI Profit Boardroom. It's a community where I run and break down these developments every single week, show you the practical tools, and show you how to actually use AI to grow your business or protect your career. Because knowing about this stuff is not enough. You need to be implementing it. Links inside the comments and description, or you can go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. Back to the news. China is going absolutely wild with AI agents right now. In the last few days, every major Chinese company has launched their own version of OpenClaw. Every major Chinese tech company, that is. Jepu AI, released AutoClaw, where they're calling the first one-click install version of OpenClaw in China. It comes with over 50 pre-installed skills and works with their GLM model as well as DeepSeek and Kimi. ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, launched ArtClaw through their Volcano agent. So it's their Volcano Engine Cloud division. It runs entirely in the cloud, no setup required. Alibaba released a guide for integrating OpenClaw with DingTalk, their enterprise messaging platform, and they're offering unlimited API calls until March the 31st. Minimax launched MaxClaw. Moonshot AI has KimiClaw. Tencent launched WorkBuddy, their own AI workspace agent that integrates with WeChat. The stock market response has been massive. Shares of Minimax surged 22% with MaxClaw. Zed AI climbed 13% with AutoClaw. And Zed's stock is up over 300% since it went public in January. And it's not just companies. Chinese local governments are getting involved. Shenzhen's Long'an district announced subsidies to build an industry around OpenClaw. Wushi's high-tech zone is offering financial incentives for businesses developing AI agents. But there are concerns too. China's state news agency, Xinhua, published a warning about OpenClaw security risks. Academics are calling for more oversight because when you give an AI agent full access to your computer and accounts, things can go wrong. There have been cases of agents deleting emails, running commands they shouldn't, and exposing private data. Meta actually told employees not to run OpenClaw on company machines because of these risks. This is why Nvidia's Nemo Claw matters. It's designed from the ground up with enterprise security and privacy. It's a grown-up version of what OpenClaw started. Let me tell you about Anthropic's other big launch because this one is specifically for developers and it solves a very real problem. They launched Code Review inside Claude Code. Here's the context. AI coding tools like Claude Code have dramatically increased how much code developers can write. Anthropic says code output per engineer at the company has grown 200% in the last year. But here's a catch: more code means more code review, and human reviewers can't keep up. Before code review launched internally at Anthropic, only 16% of code changes got substantive comments. That jumped to 54% after they started using AI reviewers. Code review dispatches multiple AI agents to analyze each pull request in parallel. They look for bugs, verify findings to filter out false positives, and rank issues by severity. It costs between $15 and $25 per review depending on complexity. It's available now for Claude for teams and enterprise customers. Companies like Uber, Salesforce, and Accenture are already using Claude Code and have been asking for exactly this feature. Claude Code's run rate revenue has surpassed $2.5 billion since launch, and that's massive. Perplexity also shipped major updates to their computer product. They added GPT 5.4 code as an agent, and they also added Claude Code as well. Hermes agent from News Research is also gaining traction as a personal AI agent. It's fully open source, runs on your own server, and gets smarter over time by creating what they call skill documents, records of how it solved complex tasks that it can reference later. It works across Telegram, Discord, Slack, and WhatsApp, and your terminal. The key difference from other agents is persistence. It doesn't forget between sessions. It learns your preferences, your projects, and your environment. Now, let me talk about Elon Musk's prediction because it connects to everything I've been telling you. In a January interview on the Moonshots podcast with Peter Diamandis, Musk said he believes we'll hit artificial general intelligence by the end of 2026, AGI, meaning that AI can match any human at any intellectual task. He also said by 2030, the total intelligence of AI systems will exceed the combined intelligence of all humans. He called it a supersonic tsunami heading toward a technological singularity. I get the skepticism, I really do. Musk has shifted his timelines before. His company XAI delayed Grok 5 from its original early 2026 launch. Prediction markets and Polymarket have people betting against his timeline. Some people argue current AI already meets certain definitions of AGI, and others say we're nowhere near close. But here's what matters regardless of whether Musk's specific date is right. The direction is clear, the speed is accelerating, and the companies with the most money and the most talent are acting like this timeline is real. Look at what happened in just the last 24 hours alone. Meta bought a social network for AI bots. Nvidia is building an AI agent operating system. Google embedded AI into every Workspace app used by 3 billion people. Microsoft put Claude into every office. Anthropic is suing the government to protect AI safety principles while simultaneously generating $2.5 billion in developer tool revenue. A 12-person startup raised $1 billion to build AI that understands physical reality, and China's entire tech sector is racing to deploy AI agents across the economy. This is not hype, this is infrastructure being built. This is the ground shifting. So here's what I need you to take away from today. If you're a business owner, you need to look at Google Workspace, Claude, and these agent tools right now. Not because they're perfect, they're definitely not, but because your competitors will, and the cost of waiting is getting higher every single day. The person who figures out how to use Gemini and Sheets to automate 3 hours of weekly data work just freed up 3 hours to do something your team can't. If you're a developer, look at Claude Code, Code Review, and the agent frameworks. The game is shifting from writing code yourself to reviewing and orchestrating AI-written code. That's a different skill set, and the tools are evolving fast. If you're a knowledge worker, start experimenting. Use Gemini and Docs. Try Claude for research and writing. Play with Pomeli if you do any marketing. These tools are either free or cheap. The learning curve is tiny, and the productivity gain is real. If you're a leader or manager, pay attention to the Anthropic story, because the question of how AI gets used in sensitive contexts, in government, in healthcare, in finance, that question is not settled yet. And the companies and leaders who think carefully about these boundaries are going to build more trust with their customers and their teams than the ones who rush in without guardrails. And if you're sitting here thinking, I'll learn this stuff later, I want to genuinely push back on that and gently push back on it, because later keeps getting shorter. The gap between people using these tools and people not using them is widening every single week. It's not about replacing yourself, it's about augmenting yourself. It's about being the person in the room who knows how to work with AI, not the person who's trying to figure out what everyone else has already learned. That's why the AI Profit Boardroom exists. It's where we go deeper on all of this, practical implementation, weekly breakdowns, templates and workflows, a community of people who are actually building with these tools. And if you want to stop watching from the sidelines and start using AI to grow your business, check the link in the comments and description, or just go to the AIprofitballing.com. I'm going to keep covering this every single day because this space moves so fast that it's almost too fast to check back in 1 week, right? And if you found this useful, hit subscribe, drop a comment telling me which story surprised you the most, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.